Hey guys and girls, and welcome back to Great is Good Tarot. Hope you're doing well and keeping out of mischief. Right, before we start, got a few bits of housekeeping, got a bit of feedback, and then we'll get and have a little bit of silly and all that kind of stuff. Primarily because it's Friday. I'm recording this on Thursday, just so you know. But it's Friday, woo! And, and so it's the last time I'm speaking to you before the great change. No, I'm not starting menopause yet. But it's the great change where the YouTube memberships, paid memberships, are being turned off on Sunday. Okay. As you know, if you've been around long enough, we've been using February as the transition point to go across to Patreon. That's where all the like extended readings, extra readings, all that kind of stuff is going to be living and is living. I'm also over there doing extra curricular activities for spiritual growth and development and all that kind of malarkey as well. Majority of that is for free. You do need a username and password, but it is free. You can pay extra to get extra stuff of that as well if you wish. That is on you, boo. You do you, boo. But it means that I can not only just give you extra videos, but also learning materials so that you're doing some groovy, sexy stuff. All right? So it's over there. Patreon.com/Great is Good Tarot. Link down below. So that's one bit of housekeeping. Second piece of housekeeping is this BAFTA thing. It's taken a little while to get to me because normally I'm not interested into kind of entertaining and people giving each other awards for playing. That's basically playing adult make-believe. I'm not really into that sort of stuff. I like some of the films, don't get me wrong, and the movies, but I'm just like, it's just not my thing, right? So I think this is being blown way out of proportion, primarily by some Americans, which I'm very disappointed about. But I feel like I need to highlight this because it's a beautiful case study, okay? It's a case study. And we do like them on this channel. So if you're not interested, you can skip ahead and we'll get into the reading and all that kind of stuff. But this case study is exactly what is wrong with us, generally speaking, broad strokes, as a society. Because if we're a tolerant society, then we have to be tolerant. We can't virtue signal and kind of like clasp of pearls and all that kind of stuff. And when people do that, we should be kind of like almost like whack-a-mole going, shut up, you're talking rubbish. Simple as that. You have a gentleman with Tourette's, and they're celebrating, making a big stink, and supposedly it's a really good film, and I've put it on my watch list. I Swear it's called. And basically you have a situation where you have a couple of people with Tourette's. The audience, supposedly the auditorium with the BAFTAs, they were warned about, by the way, we do have these people with disabilities. You may hear things throughout the thing, don't worry about it. And everyone's like, okay, cool, tolerant, fair enough, yeah? Bad things happen. Bad things happen. The presenters, I can't remember both of their names, Michael B. Jordan bloke, and the other fellow who's in everything, it seems, but I can't remember his bloody name. Is it Ara? Anyway, so those two lads are presenting. Bad things happen. You've got Alan Cummings comes out afterwards with a beautifully balanced an apology, which I think is great. Unfortunately, the chap, John, I think his name is, feels like he has to leave the when they're celebrating. And I think they won 2 awards as well. And I believe he even wasn't there for them, okay, because of the situation. Now, is it BAFTA's fault? No. Is it the BBC's fault? Actually, no. In my humble opinion. I may be wrong. Tell me down below. No. Is it Johnny's fault? No, it ain't. Okay? He has a disability. Okay? What I think has gone too far is then all of a sudden people are like, oh, it was on iPlayer for 2 hours. Right. It was recorded 2 hours before broadcast. Okay. They had 2 hours. They could have edited it out. Right. Let's be really clear about this. A length of material like that is, I would say, a couple of 100 gigabytes of file. Okay. Once you've got it there, you put it on you've got to transmit that from where you are to wherever it's being broadcasted to as well. So you've got like X amount of time for that. That also implies that you've got they've got the facilities there, Edit Suite, which is very unlikely, to actually go into the file and put a bleep or whatever it may be. Okay. And then this is the other thing. If you've got that sort of size of file, I'm saying it's easily a couple of 300 gigabytes of file, easy plus, okay, which is a big file for a video. Then, for these crap, this crap here is a gig per video, roughly. Okay, just to give you an idea, and they're using a proper camera with proper technology and proper color correction and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a much, much bigger file, okay? So just even that is silly, okay? Oh, they could have edited, they had 2 hours. Because the export time, so if you go in, you change it, then you have to export the file in its new form, okay? It's not like a Word document. You can go in and just change a Word file, save. No. You've got to export it. And that can take, for that size of file, that can take, depending on the equipment, anywhere from 4 or 5 hours to days. So they hadn't got the time. So that 2 hour thing, absolute BS. Anyone saying that, you have clearly no idea what you're talking about. Okay, on the talking head news places, stuff like that, you have no idea what you're talking about. So, my point is this, and this is why I'm bringing it up as a case study and stuff like that, to reflect and maybe do some journaling or shadow work or whatever you may want to do with it. You do, you boo, wherever you're feeling guided to do this, or even let it go, whatever, right? The point is this. Should the BBC, in my humble opinion, have gone in and edited it? No. Should they retroactively edited it on the BBC iPlayer? No. You don't go around pixelating out wheelchairs because they're unsightly or inconvenient for some people to see on TV. You don't pixelate out people who have lost limbs or born without limbs to kind of like you don't pixelate their stubs out and stuff like, just because it's inconvenient for your virtue signaling world. No, it's a condition. And if we're tolerant, it shouldn't be Tipexed out of history. It shouldn't be removed because it's inconvenient to hear, to witness. Okay, you got all the you have people suffering from Asperger's and stuff like that, and that you've got people on TikTok like, oh, isn't this great and stuff like that. They only showed the good side. If you show the bad side as well, then suddenly crap gets real, doesn't it? And then you don't want to see that. That's an inconvenience to your mentality of how things are. So, the only issue that I have for this whole thing is that allegedly it's been reported that the people with Tourette's were placed near a microphone in the auditorium. So it sounded, I shouldn't laugh at this. So the recording, you could hear it a lot louder and more clearer than what was actually supposedly said in the auditorium. Okay, so I'm still laughing. I'm not sorry. Shh. But my point is, if you're celebrating them, it's all of it. It's not the convenient stuff. It's not the quality stuff. And unfortunately, now we're in a situation where what's ironic, even though the film is getting a lot of press and praise and all this kind of stuff, what's frustrating is exactly the same thing that happened in the film, what I can gather, is now playing out exactly as it is in BAFTA and BBC and who's to blame and all this kind of stuff and outrageous and they should apologise. And then all of this, so I hear like last night, was that there's a guy with the same name who is like a sports presenter, I think it is, and he's being bombarded completely because they've got him the wrong one on X or Twitter or whatever. And so Americans are bombarding him with he should apologise and he should this, and he's a complete innocent bystander with the same name. And he's like, what am I supposed to be apologising for? Anyway, the point is this. They should not edit out the swearing. They should not edit out anything in particular. They should not in any way, shape or form have had to make him feel like he peer pressured or in any which way embarrassed to leave that auditorium in any which way. It is a condition. It is a disability. It is a situation where, you know, everyone in the whole shebang knew about it, were warned about it in a polite way, obviously, right? And to be tolerant with it, and that's cool, okay? I'm just kind of like in a position where it's like, what else did you think was going to happen? What do you know, how it just shows people's true colours, in my humble opinion. And if anything, the BBC should have turned around in this one particular instance. Okay, the level of swearing and what it said, do I condone? In no way whatsoever, obviously. But it's, if we're a tolerant country, society, people in general, especially in the arts, then it's all of it or none of it. It's simple as that to me. Okay, so I've said my piece. Maybe I've said too far. I may have said too much. I'm sure you're going to tell me in the comments down below. Anyway, right, so we've got that around the way, housekeeping. We've got that sort of thing because I think it's ridiculous. This virtue signalling is getting way too much now. There's one other piece of feedback that I wanted to say, because I thought this is a fascinating one, and shockingly, because it's from Ozzyjo, you know that one. It's shot. I was like eating my toast this morning, and I dropped it. I was like, "What has Ozzy just said?" that's a reasonably decent question. What are they on today? They've clearly eaten their Weetabix. Flipping it. So Ozzy says, hi, Gigi. I have a question, if you don't mind me asking. I am answering it. So, do you feel energetically drained after discussing the likes of Stuttery Starmer and other politicians? They have heard other tarot readers state that they have to protect their energy when reading on this and other governments. Thank you for your time. Kiss, kiss. And obviously it's the kiss, kiss that done it for me. It was like, of course. If there's kissy, kissy without tongues, that's fair enough. I think that's the rule with indoors and I at the moment. As long as there's no tongues, then it's all right. But yes. Ultimately, yes, it is draining in some respects, shape or form. But most readings are draining for me. And I do have to take a time and a beat and a moment. Partly this is because, and I keep on it's been a week where I keep on bashing on about it when I don't really want to, because it's all, you know, I don't want to make it about me. Accident, issue, problem, I have to, years ago, stuff, intensive care, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So it got to a point where I run out of energy quickly. And I think I've mentioned this ages ago, where there was, I don't know if this is just the random doctor kind of nursey type person that I was dealing with, or if it's like a proper thing in the NHS or something like that. But they went with spoons, of all things, to illustrate like how many spoons. 10 spoons is a like energized, you've woken up, you're really, really good. 5 spoons, you're halfway to kind of like, 2 spoons, it's pretty much a nap time or bedtime or whatever, like for a couple of hours or days in some cases, whatever it may be. And in fact, we've got some lovely boys and girls who work at the NHS. Can you just I don't know if I've asked you this, but in the comments down below, can you just did I just meet a nutter who was claiming to be some sort of doctor in uniform? I'm going to talk to you about spoons. Is it like part of the NHS kind of rhetoric? That'd be great. You'll put my mind at rest. I've wondered for years. However, so there is that element to it, and that will probably skew the results that you're asking for. I approach it in a different way, in the sense with protection. Because yes, you should protect energetically, full stop, as you go around and stuff like that. For me, and I can only say what works for me, okay? I found that, and this is why I think the moon cycle is so appropriate and so important. And there's resources, once again, over patreon.com/greatestgoodtarot. And they're free, as well as the expanded bit, which is not free. However, there is, at the new moon, for me, it reminds me to go through a little bit of a ritual, right? Where obviously I do my thing for new moon and what I want to do and tap into and stuff like that. But it also reminds me as a way to cleanse myself energetically. And I do a couple of minutes of meditating, and then I call upon, as you know, consent, intent. I call upon God, Spirit, Universe, whatever you want to call them. And then kind of go through certain things that I am appreciative for and thank them for, and then ask them for protection, as well as a few other things. But we're just specifically talking about protection here. And during that, for me, it's a visual thing. It's easier for me to do it in that way. So when I've called them in and all that kind of stuff, and I gave thanks, always give thanks first, and appreciation and stuff like that. And then for me is I then go about I visualize it as can you put a blanket, a cloak of protection. That's it. A cloak of protection made out of the purest of white light around myself, around my family, the home, the car, and just like that kind of thing. I do it in that sort of way, and I always top it up every month as part of the, I've already explained that bit. But for me, that continuation, that glory, like, there are some who, and I'm not judging at all, just stating, there are some who do it as a ritual every time they do stuff. Okay? Almost like a light switch. Protection on, protection off, protection on, protection off. Among other things, but protection on, protection off. For me, with my, as I explained this week, is I've got PTSD because of the thing and all that kind of stuff. So I have my good days and bad weeks and all that kind of stuff, right? And it's not a biggie, because the only reason why it's not a biggie in my life is that I've tried to manage it in a way that everything I try to do is I'm always ahead of the game. So when I know they're coming, but I don't know when they're coming. When we have blips and bad times and that kind of stuff, and complete energy drain and like panic and all that, whatever, then I can adjust, because I've got that buffer that I've already put in front, if you get me. But I also, because the part of it which is anxiety and panic and all that kind of thing, I keep the protection on all time. So unlike others who like light switch on off, I have every new moon, I've set it up. I've got, I've reinstated the cloak of protection. So I know like the cat and dog. I know it sounds silly, but it's like cover the family, right? So it's like her indoors is now at work right now. I know they're protected. I know they're safe. I don't have to worry. Yeah, I don't have that anxiety that's taken out of my way because I have faith and trust. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope it resonates with people. So I do it in a slightly different way, but yes, I need to protect myself. The energetically, so we've got the protection side, the energetic side. Do I feel draining and stuff like that? No. Partly because I've already got the protection instigated, but also because I'm like, do I have readings what tire me out? Yes, most of them do. But is it almost like a vampire, energetic vampire, which I think is where you're kind of going because of the sort of characters we're talking about? No. It feels like it's almost like a TV screen in some respects, where I can see the action, but I'm not part of the action. I'm consuming the action in that respect, if you get me, but I'm not absorbing it. I hope that makes sense, that metaphor. It's I can see what's going on, but I'm not like actually connected to them. If I was actually connected, then I think it would be a nasty place to be, and I wouldn't recommend it. But that's how some people do things, and I think I'm unsure. And you know how I don't like to judge, and I can only speak from my experience, but I'm unsure when others do that whether or not they truly understand what they're dealing with, if you get me, and whether or not they are implementing the safety features that should be there. But once again, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where they are on their spiritual journey. I don't know where they are on and in that respect, as it's a personal thing, I don't get involved. Yeah, that's you do you, boo. That's the whole purpose of that. Yeah, I can advise, but you do you, boo. It's the whole premise of going back to consent intent. That's why this is so important as a teaching tool for me, is that to interfere, I'm consenting to interfere. Do you see what I'm saying? But they've also got to consent to receive, and it's all that kind of stuff. And so I could give advice, but, who am I? Who am I to judge? I'm not the authority of anything, or you see what I'm saying? So, but I do worry that they're putting themselves into places where they really shouldn't be placing. And I do worry that there is situations where I don't know if it's under naivety or whether they have protection, and so it's like chill out, relax kind of thing. I don't know. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question, Ozzy. I hope, and I appreciate that sort of thing. Thank you very much indeed. So yeah, I thought, I hope that helps. Anyway, let's get into this question. A bit of fun question today. I don't know if it's going to be the full shebang. I think this is going to be a shuffle and have a bit of fun, kind of Friday fun and frolics and stuff. But I thought this was important. So, oh, excuse me. This is from Chris, who I'm sensing is a bit of the voice I'm thinking of here is kind of that really embarrassing, and really kind of awkward, kind of Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins kind of Australian Cockney kind of accent I'm getting for, I don't know why, for Chris. I don't know why. I don't know why that I'm getting that sort of impression, right? Step in time. Step in time. Step in time. Right, okay. Mary Poppins. Right, okay. Thank you, Gigi. I usually listen to your readings when I'm working in the kitchen. Step in time. Step in time. I'm not sure why. I don't understand why either, mate, but I appreciate that you do, and I hope you're enjoying. What are you doing in the kitchen? Are you making a nice lemon meringue? Are you just scrubbing the dishes? What are you doing in the kitchen? What's going on? Step in time, step in time. However, Mary Poppins, I've a question that arose whilst listening. Considering the amount of political insanity around the world, I was wondering just how many of the so-called leaders are actually actors. Step in time, step in time. It's the step in time that's scratching me out. Step in time. Here's me pals. This isn't an ordinary original theory, but I would. But it would improve the BAFTA ceremonies if some of the characters won an award for their services. Step in time, step in time. Love and sweet kisses, Mary Poppins. By the way, if you're trying to do my voice, I actually sound like the Hood from Thunderbirds. Step in time, step in time. Do you? Oh, this has suddenly turned awkward. I hope you've learned your lesson. Anyway. So let's look into this. That's okay. It's not an original theory, but I like it. So let's have a look into this about the so-called leaders are actually actors and that kind of thing. To cleanse the palate, have a bit of fun, have a lovely weekend, and all that kind of jazz. And step in time. Chris, seriously. And Chris had 3 upvotes as well. Thanks very much indeed, everybody. So, political leaders actually actors for the greatest good for all concerned. Thank you. Always be appreciative, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, hello. So what we got here? 2 of Pentacles, taking a leap of faith. Dodgy ground, trying to redo. This feels like redo. Hold on. There we go. Right. That's better. Got confused then where we were in the cut. But yes. So we've got the 2 of Pentacles, just as kind of like a sprinkling, a bit of a seasoning to the reading, and also the Fool, the leap of faith there to try and redo, it feels like. There's a redo here. So I got overexcited with the step in time. I'm so sorry. Bloody Hood Thunderbirds, behave. Right, so here we go. Politicians, actors, for the greatest good for all concerned. Oh, that one, okay. Oh, that one as well, okay. Fun times. By the way, Indoors, not Indoors, Next Door, that one, you know, the slightly older lady has gentleman friends in again. It sounds like that. I don't know if they're sawing or screwing or whatnot over there, but there's noises. So if you hear the noises in the background, it's them. Okay. Overarching energy, Wheel of Fortune. These 2 want to go first. Ace of Swords, truth, knowledge, wisdom, clarity. How are we doing here? 2 of Pentacles again. Basically, yes. Obviously not all, but basically, yes. We've got this weird situation here where they know it's falling apart, and this is before the topsy-turvy of roundabout now, okay? It's just like the whole concept was a great idea. You had control over the situation, and now it's all kind of falling apart a bit. And as today, as I'm recording this, is Gorton and Denton kind of by-election thing. Thank goodness that's going to be over now. God, I just won't shut up with it. Once that's done. But I find it interesting that the Greens is just a blonde woman who's supposedly a plumber, right? But our hubby is kind of like AstraZeneca kind of bloke, and you got like there's money involved, right? But it's just blank, know nothing about her. There's nothing. There's like she's a greasy pole. It's just like there's no kind of thing. Same with the Labour. All right, she's Greek. I think it's Greek or so. Anyway, she's somewhere over there. She's got lovely bushy hair, right? Looks like River Song kind of style-y, kind of, if you know, you know, don't worry about it if you don't, like the big old bushy volume hair. Lovely, all right, looks good. But it's like, there's not the greasy pole, there's nothing, there's no characteristics, there's nothing about. And then you look at Matt Goodwin, love him or hate him, right? I think he's come out a lot more, what I've seen of him and the interviews he's doing, it comes across as a lot more kind of relaxed fella instead of kind of the I've said this before and I got told off, but like the version that was on GB News, I didn't particularly like, but the one out in the wild, I do kind of like, right? Compared to someone like, I don't know, I'm not trying to like belittle him in any which way, but comparing that to the one I was slacking off yesterday, Jeremy Kyle, right? Seems a bit of a numpty on ITV. Seems a bit of a numpty on Talk. He seems a bit of a numpty outside in the real world. He's a bit of a numpty. It's like, do you see what I'm saying? There's like, where's this guy been, Matt Goodwin, outside in the real world? Where's he been? I want to see more of this one, thank you. Yeah? It's like if you look at the Mike Graham, I didn't, obviously he's been around forever, but I mean, I didn't know his, because obviously it's primarily in London, and I'm not part of London, right? So he's past stuff about growing like that. The main debate between you can grow the viral clip that keeps coming back, you can grow cement or whatever it is, right? That is just that kind of thing. Never been on my horizon because I'd never know, like, because that was just London centric. It wasn't like broadcast everywhere. So even now, as like now he's escaped into the real world a bit more, and he has a bit more control over it. Especially even in Talk days, he was all right, but like recent couple of like years, that every so often I popped in and checked out what he was doing. But like now he's out in the real world, really funny fella. I quite. When I can, I try and there's just getting too many in there. There's too many shows and too many podcasts and that kind of stuff. But I like what he's doing. He's now like, he's a fella, a decent fella. You know what I mean? Compared to the craziness previously, if you get what I'm saying. So in the different scenarios, suddenly there's more character and there's more depth to him instead of greasy pole. There's just like, it's just takes up space. It's just like, what? Who are you? You're just. There's nothing to you. And this is the problem. That's the truth. There's no characteristics. There's no depth. There's like, for goodness sake, we've got a prime minister right now who has no favourite book, that can't say doesn't dream, doesn't have a favourite song. Right? It's like, just, what? There's nothing that like, and we wonder why there's nothing to him. Do you see what I'm saying? And this is the problem here, and it's causing more mischief than mayhem kind of stuff. So there were certain characters, like easy in the day, obviously a Mandelson and Tony Blair, Brown and Campbell, right? Those four, the cornerstones of the main shebang, and everybody else were just numpties. Yeah, they were just like very little depth individuals. No characteristics, no depth, no anything. And that's what we've got here. But now it's causing mischief, especially when they're standing up to, they're standing up against reform, rightly or wrongly. You do you, boo, but they're standing up against people from reform who actually do have depth. Like Lee Anderson, even that Sarah, what's-her-face. They've all got their own personalities and they're allowed to shine. They may get it wrong a bit and they might have, oh, this is outrageous, oh, blah, 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 whatever. But there's depth to them. There's character. There's stuff about. So just simply in a comparison way, this is causing major issue. Okay, major issue. Instability. It worked for a while because if they're just basically otherwise they're basically jobs worths, aren't they? Do what you're told. Okay, yeah, I'll vote for whatever you say I'll have to vote for. Almost like a baldrick. Remember that? Like, some reason it came up. The whole kind of by-election episode. Where was it? Was it 3? Blackadder 3? It must have been. Anyway, so the point is like that episode is just chef kiss. Is like how rotten the borough is and like who owns it and that kind of thing. And then he's there in the Houses of Parliament. It doesn't know what to do, and then basically he just follows along. Okay, I'll just follow you to vote for this thing. Yeah. Now, this connection here is the problem. Because they're achieving their goals, but they know they're not on sure footing. The tower is built on sand, yeah? So it's crumbling. It's not secure. And so we've got the 4 of wands here where they're achieving what they want to do. Happy home, celebrations. They get the votes in. They got what they wanted to do. They're achieving their goals towards kind of like the alphabet spaghetti style of socialist, Marxist, whatever it is, label they're using now against them. WEF, EU, blah, 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 blah. All that lot, right? They're achieving their goals. But this is the squeaky bum time. They've got squeaky bum time down here because in comparison, they're soulless. There's no texture to them. There's no depth to any of these characters, okay? And then over here, 3 of wands, the reviewing, ships coming in, it's a matter of they're going against the grain, as we keep on talking about on this channel. So this over here is like, crap. The storm on the horizon. So you've got the storm on the horizon. You've got this tower built on sand, and one's going to wash away the other one. Okay, so they're like, this is just a safe harbor for now because they're achieving what they're trying to do. Wheel of Fortune, overarching energy, feels on the wonk. So but not that way. That's going backwards on the clock, going that way. So the Wheel of Fortune was upright. They had good luck, good karma, good destiny, good. When they got voted in, a lot of them got voted in 2004, not just here in the UK. It was the biggest kind of like election ever around the world year, if you remember. So they all got in. They're all repeating the same stuff. But now the Wheel of Fortune is turning to upheaval, to crazy, to bad. And that's what they don't like, especially when you've got the Wheel of Fortune at about 3 o'clock, I would say. And you've got the 3 of wands over here, the storm on the horizon coming in as well. So you've got it on like 2 different levels, 3, I suppose, with the foundation as well. 3 different ways that squeaky bum time is now ensuing. I will also say, 'cause I'm just going to put this on the record, asterisk. This is the first time for the UK for this situation where they've also put a useful idiot as Prime Minister. Okay? Let's just make them nice and easy. These are basically all useful idiots. They just take up space. They do their job. They do their thing. They've not done anything. And this is the important thing to remember as well. They've all been groomed. If you remember, even Robert Jenner, I'm sure he was a right player when he was younger. I've been with the Tories since I was 14 or 16 or whatever. Oh yeah, I'm sure you were such a player. But that just gleams with success with the ladies or the gents or whatever you're into, doesn't it? That just gleams, just kind of. However, they just they get in, they go to uni, right? They straight out of uni, they either go to a think tank or they go straight into kind of being the assistant to an MP. So they're in the echo chamber straight away, and then later on they become an MP if they do good. Yeah, from being kind of the slave of an MP to basically, or the assistant, and then becoming an MP themselves, and then having one following them around. You see what I'm saying? They've got nothing to it. They're just useful idiots. So it's interesting that we've got the squeaky bum time on 3 points, though. Okay, so let's have a look at the energy around this here. I know this is not a usual way of doing a reading, but to be honest, it's just it just felt right to do it this way. Yeah, it just felt right. That was it doesn't feel like a deep dive kind of energy one here. Let's have a butcher's. Okay, one more. Okay, one more. There we go. Lovely. And right. So, Ace of Swords. Cyber. It's everywhere. It's on the internet. Everyone's talking about it. Hell, even Chris, allegedly from Thunderbirds, is step in time. Is talking about it. It's just not a good place to be right now. The truth of the situation, the truth, knowledge, wisdom, clarity, information, data. That's why we're in this kind of complete stupidity kind of scenario right now, where no one's got any value, no one's got any worth, no one's got any, because they're not even working on themselves. Think about it this way: how cold those situations are. Yeah, they've gotten a bit of money. But they're empty. They're just hollow husks of people. Yeah, they're just compared to the older generation, lover or hater, Diane Abbott, for example, old school. Father of the house. I can't remember his name. Just as soon as I said father of the house, and it's oh no, I can't remember his bloody name. Old school. Just go past it, right? There is some texture to them. If you get you may agree or disagree with it. That's another thing altogether. But there's texture, there's depth, there's stuff about them, right? So yeah, this is everywhere on the internet. Then we've got the Three of Wands. Oh dear. Oh dear, their battleships are going to sink. Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, the storm is not going to be great. The water elements, obviously you've got the tsunami, you've got the, heavy burdens and all that kind of stuff. And this is right underwater. You're being dragged right under the kicking, screaming, desperately trying to swim back up to the surface, all that kind of stuff. Pressure's on. Two of Pentacles. Unclear how this is going to happen. Move on from here. Four of Wands. Planned outcome. So they were happy. It was working. The plan was working for them. Now they don't know what to do. Now they're in deep doo-doo. For some reason, and this is extraordinarily rare, I'm also going to do one for here. Shake up. We're at 3 o'clock on the Wheel of Fortune. I never do that, but for some reason I was called to. There we go. Shake up. Overarching energy. Prepare, stock up. This is this blip that I keep on talking about. And I appreciate people have been talking about um, like times and stuff like that. And I know that, but for goodness sake, JJ, when is the bloody sausage going and all that kind of thing? I get it. Trust me, I'll get it. He should have gone forever ago, to be honest with you. But they're working against the grain now. This is why the backup plan is now in effect. And I think this is like as a little kind of, this is the blip that I've been talking about the 18-month blip kind of reset thing. Okay. So if you can stock up on stuff in the pantry, I would do, or buy in bulk for a bit from, I don't know, Costco or something, or that kind of thing. I would if I was you. The issue, no, because once again, this is why it's such an interesting case study, because they know they're going against the grain energetically now. Okay, they should have gone last Christmas, kind of thing, really quite early on, right? Because that's where it started, like, clearly seeing in the cards they should be gone, they should be going. Okay, and that's what I predicted, and I said, and quite rightly, you held me accountable. That's exactly why, we're very transparent as I allow, shall we say. Because it's not about me. That's why you don't know me, like my name and all that kind of stuff. So there's that protection, and about my PTSD, and just keep, this is the extent we're ever going to be, right? Anyway, but the point is that once you're not getting the signal, if you're so pig ignorant that you're doubling down, tripling down, kind of like constantly notice how it's now leveled up the starting of the karma. And it started reasonably subtle. I would say I think it was late summer, early autumn last year, wasn't it? That's really where the start of the building up came in. I would say maybe a bit earlier than that. Maybe around when they lost the welfare. That was just early summer, wasn't it? And then it kind of built up over summer, and then it really has started to grind to a halt, to the point where it has ground to a halt now. They can't really do anything in Parliament, in government, in civil service. Everything's ground to a halt now, completely. So we're now watching in real time what is going to happen next. Okay, I find it fascinating last night that when I was, and it's like when I get hung up on certain subjects, I don't know why. So over the last month or so, I've kept bringing up British veterans and the Iraq and all that kind of stuff. And yes, it was dropped, and because Downing Street and everyone else was saying, oh, no, nothing there, blah, blah, blah. And it just didn't feel right. And that's why I kept on bashing on about it, not forgetting it, yeah? Lo and behold, yesterday, oopsie, we lied in Parliament. He did actually work for this person. And then, oh, whoopsie, this, that, and the other. We may have lied to GB News and other media outlets. And, oh, whoopsie, and it's taken a, I don't know how it normally comes out or how it will come out. But when I'm on a subject and it just, I feel like I cannot let it go, there is a purpose for that. I don't know why or when, but there's a purpose for that. So, underline is the commercial airline desperately trying to get out the UK again. So prep up, stock up, okay? And they're desperately trying to get out, like, as a distraction again. Any country, anywhere, let's just go, quick, go. Because that's the only option they've got. It's just like try and find time to dilute the situation. Because remember, there was like so many things happening at once. And there was one point, because I don't like Sky News, the rap thing. They're trying to be GB News a bit. And it's like, why would I come to you when you could just watch GB News? I don't quite get. Anyway, so every evening a different one gets its chance to shine. Okay, in my humble world, because I try and keep out of an echo chamber, as you know. So it's fascinating to me how it's being taken in a different way and stuff like that, and how easily it was allowed to let go and stuff. But GB News, it was amazing that it was that night where I was on GB News, that it was their night to shine. And there was over the hours, Downing Street and Patrick Christie fella were literally talking via the airwaves. There was a point where, I can't remember what that night, where it's like 2 or 3 different Downing Street statements were issued to GB News in response to what Patrick Christie was saying on air. I have never seen that, ever. I have never seen that kind of constantly updating the statement or releasing another statement, to which point, well, and don't forget he was in China at the time, Starmer, so by which point, and it kept happening, didn't it, over the week, while Starmer was in China and Japan and stuff. So there was a point where the statements were contradicting themselves to try and and so Downing Street just stopped sending statements for a bit and basically said he never worked there, shut up, sit down, shut up, there's nothing to see here. And then lo and behold, a month later, oh yeah, he did work. So these are known liars now. Okay? And I know you're not supposed to, you shouldn't say liars and all that kind of stuff, and politics and stuff like that. Reeves is a known liar. Even all the newspapers said it on their front pages. Liar. Remember that? That was only a few months ago. Starmer, liar. We've got Downing Street now, known liar. Okay, and that's shocking to me. Shocking. Okay, we've got other areas and other statements and things like that, which are slowly but surely coming out as other people being labelled as known liars by their own actions, by their own statements. Liars. They're even having to apologise slowly but surely, drip, 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 in Parliament. So they are also known liars. Yeah? This is where we're getting at now, where there is no trust anymore completely. They're being shown up for the truth they are. Okay? And if they still don't listen, more crap is going to hit the fan. But this is their planned outcome. This is what they wanted. A flock of people that are easily manipulated to kind of just don't think, just vote the way we're telling you to vote. I think this is half the reason why none of them can speak. Well, they're constantly stuttering their way around anything because they're a little bit slow. Or they're not very good at lying. They're constantly, yeah? And even the slime ball, and she is such a slime ball, in my humble opinion, that Bridget Phillipson woman, right? She thinks she's so obnoxious in her presentation. And even then, she's answering all these questions, and then she thinks she's being so clever. And then even halfway through the interviews, what she's been doing is like, It's like, so you are now lying. Okay, so we know. All right. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off my high horse. It's Friday. What do you want? So what's the outcome to this? What is the outcome to this situation? Because now the downfall is here. The shake-up is coming. We need to, once again, prepare for the blip. Okay? Let's have butchers here. Let's have a butchers here. Outcome, please. Thank you. Okay, there we go. One more. Okay. Oh, that feels good. Feels good, baby. Right. Cut the deck, and there's the fighting. It's a nightmare now. The storm is here. Inward fighting. Don't know what to do. The betrayal is over. They're desperately trying to hold on for dear life. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh dear. Oh dear. Overarching energy. Hawk lady. Oh, where's she been in my life? Where is she? Lovely girl. Right. Garden of Eden. Building the new. Preparing the blip. And then we can build our own Garden of Eden, what we want it to be. Okay. Underlying energy. Reviewing the situation. All these pentacles. We're greedy now. They were greedy with their little 4. Look at us. We've got many because I'm 16. There we go. It took me a little while. Dyslexic. Welcome to my world. So, if I pad out enough, I may be able to do the maths. You're welcome. Sounded subtle, didn't it? It sounded like sleek, and then behind the curtain, that's really what's going on with us in our dyslexic world. Anyway. So, try and do the times table and stuff like that. And when you're trying to, there was a maths. Oh no, there's a little asterisk there. There was you sometimes as well when you're doing maths and being a professional dyslexic with a certificate and stuff. You do maths and you're like proudly go, oh, that's 54. And then it's like, you second guess yourself. It's like, is it 54? And then over in your mind, you're redoing the maths work over and over and over again. And it's like, it took me 5 or 6 times. It's like, yes, it is 54. And then I was proud of myself a little bit because I did that work many times. Welcome to my world. Anyway, that's not to, we don't blame that on the accident. That was there forever. Anyway, so this is us reviewing the situation. Once again, I keep highlighting this because it's very important. And for the long-term viewers and listeners and stuff, this is why the 7 of Pentacles is so important. We're reviewing the situation. The 7th... I was praising my maths for what? The 7th Pentacle, is that what we want to plant in this new field of opportunity or not? Yeah? This is the important thing. We can have the same old, the crop we've already got, or do we want to plant something new? That is what we're reviewing. And I keep on highlighting that because it's fundamentally important. We don't have to keep doing the same old. But we've got Hawk Lady. I have missed her. And in her Garden of Eden, this is what we're trying to build, okay, what we want to grow. So, yes, we've got a blip. We've got to prepare ourselves. We've got to, be organized, that kind of thing. And the preparing is not just food in the pantry, but it feels like it's kind of preparing ourselves, I suppose, kind of filling up that spiritual fuel tank that I keep on bashing on about, to make it easier for you to understand. It's like getting ourselves ready. Okay. But overall, for this lot, the actors, they're desperately trying to hold on for dear life, but it's an absolute nightmare for them. This is the 3 worst cards, really. I'm surprised the devil didn't come out to play. But there you go. But they still want to hold on tight. For what? For what purpose? Yeah, because the joy that they had for a while, and now they're now addicted to it or something. I don't know. It just feels like they don't want to let go. Obviously, because of the 4 of Pentacles. But I mean, don't want to let go of control. They don't want to let control of power. They don't want to let go of their influence and that kind of thing. It's all an arrogance point of view. It all is here. But they're getting their downfall. It's heartbreak. Is their downfall. And it really genuinely feels as if standards. I'm surprised high honor. We haven't seen high honor for a little while. But that's where this is kind of heading. The standards. If you don't meet the standards now, then that's it. Which brings us nicely back to that conversation. It's like, if you've got a professor, Matt Goodwin, and education, teaches people, I can speak, shut up, and all that kind of stuff, who is talking on a philosophical kind of level, and yet you've then got media that take that and blip it into kind of like bite-sized chunks that take him out of context. How are we going to get to that new kind of higher standard? Do you see what I'm saying? Because they're still hooked up upon the difference between how he sees it and how, well, I'm assuming he teaches, the difference between Britishness and Englishness, similar to Scottishness and Welsh. Welshness. There we go. Just sorry, I've been reminded of the Eddie Izzard joke when he was doing funnies, where they were talking about how, or he was talking about how, national dishes of, so you've got, in England, you've got the roast beef, or it takes you days to sort out, and you get it roasting and things like that. In Scotland, you've got, the haggis, and it takes on years and days and things to get it all organised and cooked well and things like that. And then you go to the Welsh, and it's just like a cheese and ham toasty. It's like couple of minutes, done. There you go. It's over and done with. Oh, classic Eddie Izzard. Cake or death. So, oh, hello, we've got a footnote. But yes. One more, okay. And then we'll have a great weekend, and it's all going to be grand, and then we'll come back and then have fun on Monday. So, gift. Yes. This is our gift. Notice that we're preparing for the new world, as it were. Okay. Pluto and Aquarius. I haven't said it for, hours. So there we go. The new world, small businesses, smaller governments, more control back to us, that kind of thing. Garden of Eden, planting our new, the way we want to be, less controlled, more organised, taking control back, which also means taking responsibility back, that kind of thing. This is a gift. Here we go. House keeps coming up. Distant horizons, mature woman, child. Yeah. Despair. Overarching energy, coffin. Occupation. Just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. So, coffin, it's over. Gift, this is our gift. The reset. Their karma. Okay? It's their nightmare. It's their, it's our burdens, but the burdens are over. End of a cycle. Okay? It's their heartbreak. Okay? So then we've got the house. This is all of them behind that closed door. Okay, obviously we've got the family room, which will be the smaller kind of like leadership lot, but no, we've got the house. It's all of them. Okay, this is not just Labour. This is the progressives, that kind of thing. I'm feeling like distant horizons. They're going to try again. Okay, but right now, mature woman. This feels like going back to how things used to be. This is having to listen and learn from people who are older than, I would say, 60, 55, 60. Why? Because I've only grown up knowing this shenanigans. Okay? It's been going on for 30 years or so since Tony Blair. Slightly before then as well, but primarily it all kicked up in a gear then. Before 50, like 55, 60 onwards, up that, older generation, wiser generation can remember how it used to be generation. We've got to learn from this, people. Okay, because I'm like the child. Okay, this is all of us, right? But I'm the child in this like really easy kind of way of describing it. We've got to learn how it used to be. How did common law actually work in the real world? Because they've now blurred it into some cray-cray right now. If we're going to remove the rot, remove the people, we need an education of how it used to be. Yeah? So the child is us innocents, not just children. It's just we're innocent in this. Okay. This is why God Spirit Universe has stepped in, because we never gave consent for this. Goes all the way back to consent intent. Yeah. Despair. End of the road. End of the road. Death. End of the road. We've then got great fortune. So we've got gift, great fortune. We're the two in the middle here. Okay. We've got this freedom coming, but we don't know how to use it. That's why it's on the mature woman side. That's why we need to kind of like I said, education, people, please, education. Despair, that is the House and others. Okay, the Greens, the Lib Dems, all that kind of stuff. They're heartbreak because we're taking control back. Control, sorry, not control. Control. Coffin, death, end of it. Nail in the coffin, done. The experiment is over. But remember, there's going to be this blip as it resets. As like I said, it's going to be about 18 months. So, because at the moment it's like what, a third of our food is shipped in, maybe more than that. How can lamb from Kiwi land, love you Kiwi land down there south, right? How can lamb be cheaper from there, shipped halfway around the world, maybe a bit further, depending which way you go, if you get lost along the way, and be cheaper than lamb that's grown here? I still don't know how that makes sense to anyone, right? I just don't know how that makes sense. Anyway, it's that sort of thing, okay? So the preparation here is the readjustment, more food being grown here, so there's going to be a little bit of a blip, okay? Where food from like new potatoes are like in Egypt and stuff, or Spain, and like for strawberries all year round and all that kind of stuff. It's going to come back to much more of a seasonal time, which I think is going to be great, generally speaking. So then we can enjoy when it comes around, if you get me, more. But overall, it's that blip of, instead of this just-in-time delivery, it comes out as and when it is ready or ripe or harvest or manufactured or whatever it may be. Okay? So that's what the blip is about. I'm not saying it's going to be barren. It's going to be completely gone completely. It's just that blip where it takes, for example, there was an interview I saw months ago where they were talking about why mints in supermarkets were like a tenner now, or $9.50 or whatever it is, which is bloody ridiculous. And there was a multitude of different reasons that this farmer was talking about, but also because of those multitude of reasons, and now all of a sudden everybody's realised that protein may be a good idea to have in your diet, then all of a sudden there's been a huge surge of demand. When previously everyone from DEFRA and Europe Environment Agency and all that kind of stuff were trying to get rid and like make it more difficult and that kind of thing. And then so they stopped like having as many calves to grow up, but it takes 2 years for them to get ready to be butchered and stuff like that. So it's like, it's going to take a while for it to come through the system. This is what we've been talking about as farmers. We need the lead time. If you don't give us the lead time, you ain't getting. You know, it's that kind of. But they are trying to come back. Distant horizons. They will try and come back. So we've got time while they're wallowing in their own despair of losing controls, releasing the reins, whatever metaphor you want to use. But yeah, it's about 18 months to completely reset, to completely come back to how things used to be. All right? And if you're, and I generally mean this with love and affection and respect and all that good jazz. But please, if you are of the like 55, 60 plus, can you start educating us in the village? Comment down below or whatever about how things used to work. because we're heading back that way, baby. And so it's like we need an education, as I said. Anyway, I think we're done here. I'm done. Are you done? I'm done. We're all done. Okay. So I haven't even had coffee. It's just sitting there. It's just like staring me out now. However, as always, thank you so much for your company this week. I hope you've enjoyed it and that kind of malarkey. Once again, remember, we're moving to Patreon. We're not leaving YouTube. Freebie YouTube is still going to be here, but extra goodies will be on Patreon. However, until next time, where we do this crazy shenanigans all over again, take care. Look after yourself. Be well. And thank you for your company. I'll speak to you soon. See you later. Ta-ra.